I was just thinking,
Huh.
if you hadn't dated him,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be eating half as well as I do.
that's true. I'd take a guess that most people would say you shouldn't talk about your ex with your partner. And there are some good reasons for not talking about an ex. For instance, if you're still in love with your ex, which has its own problems,
Yeah, probably not a good time to talk about your ex.
or if you're comparing your ex to your partner and making your partner look bad, I could see that could make your partner feel insecure.
Yes.
So there are reasons. But I think especially in a long-term relationship, if I couldn't talk about my exes with Joe, given that we met when we're in our midlife, if I couldn't talk about my exes with you, that's a whole lot of things I can't talk about.
Sorry, let's see, I was in a relationship back then. I can't talk about that. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
or
when weren't you in a relarelationship?
I was always in a relationship. So
Yeah.
if I have some fun story and I can't share it with him, what a loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. You have a
So
story for me?
I do.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you in a minute.
Okay.
I've told them to you before, and that's one of the great things I love about you is you'll listen to stories more than once. So that makes it double fun. So, Joe, but I have to ask you first, why does it not make you insecure if I talk about an ex?
Well, for one, I mean, our relationship is so connected that when I hear you talk about an ex, it's like it's something in your past, and you talk about the great things you got out of it, and it feels like it's a more of a contribution to our relationship than something that I should be worried about or feel threatened by. I just don't feel that way with us because I think our relationship is way too strong.
Yeah. Even if I had a great time in the story I'm telling you, it was a wonderful time. I had fun. It was a wonderful memory. It doesn't make you feel insecure.
No, you should have had good times when you were younger.
That's a good point. And of course, I'd love to hear his stories, and he has a couple, and he's told them to me, and I love hearing them. You don't have a lot.
She has way more stories than I do. Way more stories.
Why is that?
And they're much more exciting. I don't know why that is. What do they say about redheads and and their wildness?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story.
Tell me a story.
So, my mother, bless her heart, she was an amazing woman. So many creative gifts. She was a child genius. She could play music. She could make art. She could do amazing things.
She did some amazing things. Yeah.
She had amazing memory. She was the smartest person I've ever known. She couldn't cook. She could not cook. It was horrible growing up. I was petrified every day of what we were going to come home to and have to eat at dinner. I was so petrified that there was a number of years that I would ask her in the morning what she was making for dinner because I would be in a panic all day long that it would be one of the horrible things. And it was actually better for me to know, oh, it's going to be one of those horrible things. And I would cry during the day knowing that. But it was better because if it wasn't one of the most horrible things, at least I wouldn't have to be in a panic. So it was awful.
Doesn't sound great.
It was really awful. Bless her heart, she had 4 kids, and I don't know how she did it, so I don't hold any resentment. But my first semester in college, I met a man, a little bit older than me. He was a chef. He worked at a 5-star resort as a sous chef. And I used to go into his restaurant and I would sit there and he would make me anything I wanted. Anything. Can you imagine how I felt sitting there ordering anything it's a French restaurant, anything on the menu or anything else that he thought, oh, she likes that, she'll really like this. Oh my gosh.
Those must have been some great years.
Oh my gosh. Because they wanted to always keep up with the competition, we would have to go to all of the other restaurants in the nearby area every once in a while to check out what they were serving. That was really tough.
That's really too bad.
And you love that I hung out with this guy for a number of years.
Well, yeah, because, she didn't just sit around and eat well. Although she did. But she also learned from this great chef how to put a meal together out of whatever was in the kitchen. And it feels like it's a bit of a challenge, right? That you willingly take on. What kind of great thing can I create out of whatever's left over in the kitchen?
That was what was so wonderful and fun about him was we'd go to a friend's house and he'd go into the kitchen and open the cupboards and open the refrigerator, and whatever he found there he'd pull it out and he would create something with it. And that is what I learned from him. Just take whatever it is and play with the textures and the flavors and the colors, and don't worry about it so much. And you don't have to follow a recipe. And I love that.
And you learned well, I will say.
So fun.
I have been eating great for as long as we've been in a relationship, which is a fairly long time now. It would have been a real pity if I could not have talked to Molly about this man who taught her how to cook.
Yeah.
Right? And it would have been a big mystery to me knowing that her mother was a terrible cook.
Right.
And then being in this relationship with this woman who cooks so well, I would have been dying to know, how did you get to be such a good cook? So
Oh, just happened.
yeah.
Can't tell
A
him
lot of
about my
cookbooks.
ex.
So, this has been great for me, and I have been benefiting since I met her because of this relationship that she had that we've talked about many, many times, all kinds of different stories about this man, and it's been wonderful.
Thanks for not being so insecure that I can't tell you about my ex.
Thanks for talking about your ex, so I know where all the good food's coming from.